Hey friend, I just wanted to encourage you today. I know that a lot of this work that you've been doing, breaking generational curses, going through therapy, practicing self awareness, journaling, however it is, whatever modality that you're choosing to process your past so it stops bleeding on your future, it might not look like much on the day to day, but I guarantee you that it's working. So I wanted to share with you some of the changes that I've noticed in myself as I've been doing this healing work, as I've been processing more and more of my past, healing my wounds, addressing things that um, were necessary for me to address in order to heal. First being, I have decreased the amount of self criticism that I do. And I say that with the awareness that I'm still very, very self critical, but I tend to forgive myself a lot more quickly. I tend to extend myself a lot more grace more quickly. And that for me comes part of my faith journey as well. Understanding the concept of grace, not just as a concept, but as a gift that I can receive open hands. I have been overthinking a lot less. So I am a person who, when I'm in social situations, I tend to overanalyze and be hyper aware, hyper self-critical of everything that I've said, everything that I've done. Did I upset this person? Should I have said something different? Was my tone okay? And that comes with also being just like a heavily masking type person, ADHD and other things, and other kind of like neurospiciness. But yeah, I tend to overthink in a lot of social situations. And more recently, I found that I'm less afraid of doing the wrong thing, saying the wrong thing, holding myself in the wrong way, like of people judging me. And I'm doing it less. I won't say I'm no longer, but I have been doing a lot less preemptive overthinking, preemptive self-judgment, self-criticism, because I think other people are going to judge me. Other people are going to misperceive or misunderstand me or critique me. And so I've been loving that for myself. The next one is I have become less quiet when people make me uncomfortable. I am a lot I'm a lot quicker to self-advocate. I do know, there are moments where I will choose my battles, but to a larger degree, I'm much more quicker to recognize when I'm being manipulated or, someone's actively trying to victimize me or make me uncomfortable, and I'm quick to call it out. And I don't smile as much when people are actively trying to hurt my feelings or trying to mistreat me. I'm quicker to tell somebody if I'm tired and they're demanding things of me that I don't have the capacity to give. And that is coming with a lot of practice, a lot of being willing to sit with myself and be honest with the way that I feel. But it has been revolutionary. And a lot of times it can cause conflict in the relationships that we're relying on you to, be overly self-sacrificial and betray yourself in order to keep them, but wouldn't have it any other way. Would not have it any other way. And I'm okay in this season of my life, especially losing people in order to keep integrity with myself. And it's not easy by any means. It's not an easy decision, but I am beginning to deem myself as worthy of advocating for, of siding with, of loving, of, taking care of, or of protecting. And I'm worthy of doing that. And I'm giving myself those things. I'm not waiting for somebody else to tell me, oh, you should, doesn't know. I'm advocating for myself because I'm starting to value and care about me. choosing connection over isolation. I am a person who has struggled with depression for many seasons of my life, and I have not known how to dig myself out of many of those like depressive episodes, and it has always felt to me like it was something that I needed to deal with on my own, and then when I'm feeling okay, come back out and engage with people and connect to people. But along my healing journey, I found that connecting to other human beings, even if it's quiet, silent communication, sharing space, maybe going out for a chat or just getting a hug from another human being, is so calming and so regulating. And if you don't initially feel safe around other people, or if you just are inclined to isolate for whatever reason, you can kind of simulate that with having an animal or a pet, or just like engaging, like to whatever degree feels comfortable for you. I personally, I have like varying degrees. I also have a dog. She's like my like I love my dog. But you can also just engage with other human beings. Maybe pick up the phone and call somebody that you don't mind engaging with or speaking to, asking a friend for a hug, or maybe like initiating an outing and just sharing that, hey, I'm feeling kind of down, but I would really appreciate some company, and just seeing, if that is a helpful thing. But yeah, like choosing connection over isolation, it's such a major reframe because of the fact that a lot of my wounds, and I'm assuming if you're watching this, your wounds come from relational harm. So engaging or trying to step into relationships to whatever degree can be incredibly emotionally difficult. And that's not to say you shouldn't. It just means, proceed with caution, but it does absolutely help. Like just trying to be around people more, but that does not take the place of you building a relationship with yourself or spending time in solitude. But there's a difference between solitude and there's a difference and self-isolating because you're triggered. Again, you get to toe that line, but let's move forward. You'll find yourself engaging with life more instead of shutting down, getting curious. It also kind of links to you noticing that your world begins to expand. So for me, there were major portions of my life as I was re-experiencing my childhood, like the book by Pete Walker called Complex PTSD From Surviving to Thriving. They talk about the concept of a flashback, an emotional flashback. It's as though when you're experiencing something, some kind of stimulus that you're experiencing in the present moment, that shoves you right back to your early childhood, the wounds you experienced and the worst of what you experienced in your childhood. And for me, it was one of the components was this sense of overwhelm, this sense of everything feels bigger than me and like too much is being asked of me, and I would just emotionally shut down, but because of overwhelm, because I didn't have like support or guidance through a lot of the day-to-day challenges that I was facing. And so I felt like it was all just on my shoulders, and then it felt too heavy and I would just collapse, I would just shut down. And it was incredibly difficult to get out of that mindset of not even just the mindset, but even that freeze response of just like, oh, it's too much, it's too soon, it's overwhelming. But getting out of that space was so difficult. And now I've noticed more recently that I'm starting to build up a wider tolerance, like a bigger tolerance for things that I perceive to be overwhelming, because I'm willing to support myself. And also kind of linking back to being less critical, I'm willing to make mistakes. I understand that engaging with life is a process of trial and error. It is a process of continuous like growth, and you kind of take little bite-sized chunks out of life. You don't try to like consume the whole thing in one day because you think there's people rushing you or judging you, or that you're operating on some kind of timeline. So there's just this kind of open-mindedness, this growth mentality that I'm slowly beginning to adopt. And it's so gradual that I almost didn't notice, but I feel like my world is getting like a little bit wider on the day-to-day, and it's a really good feeling. It's a really, really good feeling. Okay, I really don't want to make this video too long, but the next one is that you'll start identifying with a more capable, loving, open, and adventurous version of yourself, and not just your wounds or not just your trauma. Now, this kind of links back to the previous point, but this one is more centered around identity. So for a lot of us who experience neglect, abandonment, or just any kind of childhood trauma, we can hyper-focus. The mind hyper-focuses on the harm that we've experienced, both as a defense mechanism or self-protective mechanism, but also just because of the heaviness of the grief. It's so hard to see ourselves beyond that, or see our life or envision our life being anything other than the pain that we've experienced. And so we can kind of get tunnel visioned on the harm of the past and the potential harm in the future. And it robs us of living life in any like substantive, in a meaningful way. And so oh my goodness, yeah, being on this process or being on this journey where it feels like I'm slow feeding myself the parenting that I wish I'd had growing up. It doesn't look like much. I said this before, it doesn't look like much on the daily when I am, holding my heart and like reassuring myself when I feel overwhelmed, or speaking to myself kindly, or journaling, or just making myself and my mental health a priority, or learning about something, or taking time to pray in my day, or just, yeah, I already said being kind to myself, but whatever that looks like on the day-to-day, despite the fact that it doesn't look like much, I am creating for myself a level of emotional resiliency, a level of strength that maybe it doesn't play out in these big grand ways, but I feel more capable to approach life. And that is huge, okay? That is massive. Yeah, and so even if on the daily you don't think that it's doing anything, meditating, being kind to yourself, doing this healing work, even if on the day-to-day it doesn't look like much, it is absolutely paving the way to you living a more expanded life, to you living the kind of life that, in 40, 50, 60 years, you will look back on and say, I didn't just survive, I actually lived. I didn't just let the trauma be what defines or consumes me. I actually opened myself up to live life in spite of the fact that I had a really painful start. But you are not your grief. The grief isn't all there is. The trauma isn't all there is. There's so much more to you. And all of the stuff that happened in the past has just covered it, and it's up to you to do, it's buried it or covered it, but it's up to you to do the process of excavation, of tentatively, even if it's with a paintbrush, even with a toothpick, but going in these minor ways, seemingly minor ways, and excavating and digging up so you can reveal who you truly are. And even if they seem minor on the day-to-day, they compound. You on the daily making a commitment to love yourself a little more, and to be a little more tender with yourself, to be a little more present, more encouraging with yourself, more affirming. All of these things, they compound, and they are absolutely impacting who you are, how you show up in the world, your ability to take up space, recognize opportunities, and recognize harm, and advocate for yourself. There are a lot more things that you will recognize on your own healing journey, and I pray and hope that you just do not stop doing this work. Whatever happens, even if on some days it's just you sitting in bed in silence holding your heart and you can't get up and go brush your teeth and wash your face, or some days are going to look like you're able to do everything on your to-do list and keep up with your routine, and other days are just going to look like you're not doing much. And on those days, that's when you give yourself grace. You say, it's okay, I still love you anyways. You're fighting to be the loving presence that you wish you'd had. All right. Please continue to stick around on this channel, in this place. I'm trying to make it not just a place for entertainment and engagement, but a soft landing place for you to engage with yourself, for you to create an awareness, and a tangible means for you to self-reflect and love on yourself. And I hope that it is doing that. Please feel free to leave a comment, like the video if you like the video, share this with someone who you think needs to hear it, and feel free to come back to it as many times as necessary if you're struggling to recognize if you're actually healing, if this work is actually doing anything. When it feels like it's not enough or you're not doing much, come back to this video and I'm gonna tell you, first of all, that you're worth the work. It is doing something. You are loved, you're significant, you matter, and each and every ounce of effort and tenderness that you invest into yourself, you're worth it just for the sake of it. Even if it doesn't have some grand outcome, you just being able to live a life that doesn't feel so contracted, that isn't so bound in shame and self-criticism, all of it is absolutely worth it, and it adds up. Yeah, do the work just for the sake of it, because you're worth it. Okay, I'm gonna stop rambling, and yeah, I will see you in a future video. Okay, love you, bye.